So there's, generally speaking, in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes community, two separate schools of thought. The APGAINS school of thought and the everyone else school of thought. Most people think, Galactic Legend, big, strong, scary, good. We want fast, right? The problem is everything in this game is good, and everything that you farm comes with certain sacrifices, right? So, pros of going GL first. We have GL, very fun. After a year, we get to use Big Toy, hard to beat, almost impossible to beat, actually. Not impossible, because they've made it a lot easier to beat recently, but very annoying. Cons, the rest of our teams kind of suck ass. APGAINS side, bunch of teams, no GLs. Pros, bunch of teams, cons, no GLs, right? So when you have one really, really good team and a bunch of really bad teams, and you face someone with a bunch of solid to a couple of good teams, but no really, really good teams, right? This is what happens. This person kind of only has one play, and that's place the really, really good team on defense, under the assumption that this person cannot beat it. And that's true, right? This person is not going to beat this person's one really, really good team. Now, it is possible, though unlikely, that they can beat it. But here's the thing. This person has all of the power in deciding how the GAC works, right? The wide roster, meaning that they have more of the teams, has all of the decision-making over how the GAC goes. Because if the guy with the GL uses the GL on offense, they're an idiot, right? Because they've wasted basically all of their resources to beat one team, right? In this matchup, the only value the GL serves is as a stonewall, right? Kind of like when I run a fleet-only defense, the value of the Executor and having 6 really good fleets is that I don't need to place anything else because I know they won't beat the Executor in most cases, or in the cases where I select to do this defense, right? So they have one play, and that is place the GL on defense. The thing is, because they've invested so many resources into this GL, oftentimes the GL not having great teams, the rest of their roster is not very strong. So now this person who has all of the teams has two decisions. The more realistic decision is you place a lot of really good stuff on defense, knowing your opponent is not going to have a strong enough team to beat either of your zones or beat them efficiently or whatever, right? Because your teams are just flat out stronger because you didn't invest in something crazy with bad requirements. You invested in a lot of really good stuff that all hold value, right? So your opponent's going to have a really, really, really hard time beating those teams if they can beat them at all. Conversely, the only thing that they can possibly place on defense is really weak teams, which means that all you have left is likely really weak teams, and really weak teams, surprisingly, work well against other really weak teams. They're going to struggle to beat your teams if they can beat them at all, and you have a much better chance of beating their weak teams with your weak teams, thus giving you a massive advantage in GAC, right? Or you can place a couple of okay teams on defense, save a large majority of your powerful things on offense, and what you can do is you're using your powerful teams versus their weaker teams. You can undersize, you can get max banners. They're going to use whatever the fuck that they happen to have left against your medium to weaker teams, get a couple of banners knocked off, and you win by being more efficient. So you can either be an absolute dick and prevent them from doing anything and just, nickel and dime until you have more banners and then call it a day. Or you can max efficiency, max banner, max undersize them, get a massively juicy score, and then they just can't compete because the teams that they have left aren't going to be undersizing, aren't going to be getting max banners, aren't going to be getting one-shots. So while Galactic Legends are very, very, very important, you are at a massive disadvantage for the first year to year and a half to maybe even 2 years, depending on the skill of the player, if you decide to go for one first, right? You're just placing yourself... Basically, anytime you give your opponent the ability to decide how the GAC goes, you're at a massive disadvantage, right? You always want to have as much control over the outcome of the Grand Arena in the prep phase as possible. That gives you the most amount of chances to win. Now, in the early to mid game, 70 to 80% of GACs are kind of just free wins because most players who play this game have no idea what they're doing. But really what we want is that 20 to 25% of wins where there is a challenge, right? Those are where the money is made. You can farm Geos and Tuskens and Rogue One and probably win, 8 out of your 12 GAC matches, or I guess now in the new matchmaking system, it's only like 9s. You can probably win like 5 or 6 out of your 9 matches, right? Doing whatever you want in the early game. The good thing about going many teams versus one team is once you have many teams, you can go farm big stuff that takes a while, right? Because you always have good core teams to fall back on, right? It takes you a while to get something really good because a lot of the requirements suck, but you have the fallback of your roster is already good. So you have a nice foundation. I like to say, you know, you don't want to build your roster on a pillar of sand, right? So you have a good roster to fall back on, plus your farming ships and all that other shit that I tell you to do and beat you over the head with, right? So while you're at a disadvantage farming something where the teams that you're farming are not great and the end product is good, you kind of have that little shield of your account's already good. Conversely, if you go GL first, your fallback is already a disadvantage. So yes, you have something really good, but while you're farming up these core teams and progressively slowly getting a better and better account, you have much less to fall back on. Therefore, you're at a massive disadvantage during the process of kind of building up your core teams back, right? Or not back, but for the first time. At the end of the day, these two players will get to good core plus a GL, you know, theoretically at the same time. But the person who goes wide, as opposed to tall, will be good the entire way, and the person who goes tall as opposed to wide will be bad the entire way, and then equal at the finish line. Now, it's fine to be equal at the finish line, but I prefer to be good the entire way as opposed to bad the entire way. Make sense? Hey guys, APGAINS at Night here. Quick update. We're going to be unlocking JML in the next week-ish, so stay tuned to not only streams, but videos, and maybe even Discord or YouTube community posts, kind of letting you know when the JML unlock stream is going to be. I'll save one attempt for each tier so we can do all of the tiers live, unlock JML, and see how much we can gear them up in one fell swoop. So if you guys want to be there for a live Galactic Legend Jedi Master Luke Skywalker unlock, stay tuned. If you guys like the videos, like the stream, subscribe. We're trying to get 25K. And shout out to the 6% of you guys who watched to 8 minutes. You guys have gigantic peepees. Bye-bye. Subscribe. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the IGL. Take it away.
It's time for the IGL, bitches.
It's IGL time.